Every action repeated becomes habit. Every habit practiced becomes character, and character determines destiny. This sequence operates with precision whether one is conscious of it or not. The subconscious mind records repeated behavior faithfully and reproduces it automatically. For this reason, the greatest task confronting any individual is the mastery of habit. Most men attempt to control outcomes while neglecting the habits that produce them. They wish for success while practicing indecision. They desire confidence while indulging fear. They seek discipline while yielding to impulse. Such contradictions cannot endure without consequence. The subconscious mind does not reason. It records. It does not evaluate. It accepts. Whatever the conscious mind repeatedly impresses upon it through thought, emotion, and action, it adopts as directive. Habit is the language through which the conscious mind communicates with the subconscious. Emotional control is therefore not suppression, but selection. The individual must learn to choose which emotions he will encourage and which he will deny expression. Fear, anger, jealousy, and doubt are natural emotions, but they must not be permitted to govern conduct. The undisciplined individual reacts emotionally. The disciplined individual responds deliberately. This distinction determines whether habit serves as ally or adversary. Each emotional response reinforces a mental pathway. Repeated reactions strengthen undesirable habits. Repeated restraint strengthens mastery. Over time, the subconscious learns which impulses to amplify and which to diminish. This process requires patience. Habit does not yield to intention alone. It yields to repetition. For this reason, emotional control must be practiced consistently, not occasionally. The individual who desires mastery of the subconscious must become vigilant over his emotional climate. He must recognize that emotions supply energy to thought. Thought without emotion is weak. Thought infused with emotion is commanding. Fear-fed thought attracts limitation. Confidence-fed thought attracts opportunity. Thus, emotional discipline becomes essential to persistence. Without it, effort fluctuates. With it, effort stabilizes. The individual no longer rises and falls with mood. He acts from principle. It must be understood that the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between truth and suggestion. It accepts repeated impressions as fact. Therefore, emotional reactions must be aligned deliberately with purpose. The man who allows anger to dictate action impresses instability upon his subconscious. The man who maintains composure impresses control. The mind then reproduces this control automatically. Habit also governs courage. Courage is not absence of fear. It is the habit of action in the presence of fear. Each act of courage weakens fear's authority. Each retreat strengthens it. The individual who practices disciplined response gradually eliminates internal conflict. He ceases to battle himself. His actions become congruent with his aims. This congruence produces calm. Calm is not passivity, it is readiness without agitation. When emotional control is established, persistence becomes effortless. The individual no longer struggles to continue. Continuation has become habit. Faith becomes stable. Decision becomes prompt. Initiative becomes natural. At this stage, the subconscious mind functions as an ally rather than an obstacle. It supplies confidence instead of resistance. It supports intention rather than contradicting it. The individual who has mastered habit understands that change begins internally and proceeds outward. He no longer waits for circumstance to improve before improving himself. He improves himself, knowing circumstance will follow. This mastery does not require perfection. It requires consistency. Occasional failure does not destroy habit. Repeated neglect does. Therefore, the individual who seeks enduring success must assume responsibility for his emotional responses, his habitual thoughts, and his repeated actions. In doing so, he claims authority over the most powerful force available to him, his own subconscious mind. This authority marks the transition from effort to effectiveness, from struggle to control, from aspiration to command. When habit, emotion, and purpose are aligned, success becomes less an achievement than a consequence. And this is the culmination of all preceding principles. Persistence establishes direction. Faith sustains effort. Decision initiates action. Imagination creates form. The mastermind multiplies force. Habit preserves momentum. Together they produce mastery. There exists within every individual a faculty beyond reason, beyond habit, and beyond conscious thought. I have referred to this faculty as the sixth sense. It is not mysterious in origin, but it is subtle in operation. It functions only after the mind has been disciplined through the application of the preceding principles. The sixth sense is not a starting point. It is a result. It emerges only when persistence has stabilized effort, when faith has quieted doubt, when decision has eliminated hesitation, and when habit has aligned conduct with purpose. Until these conditions are met, intuition remains dormant. Intuition does not replace reason. It completes it. Through this faculty, the individual perceives truth without deliberate analysis. Insight appears suddenly. Direction becomes clear without explanation. Decisions are made with calm certainty rather than anxious deliberation. This is not chance. It is the subconscious mind communicating through experience refined by discipline. The sixth sense draws upon accumulated knowledge, emotional control, and subconscious alignment. It becomes reliable only when the mind has ceased to contradict itself. Where conflict exists, intuition is distorted. Where harmony exists, intuition is precise. Those who reach this stage no longer struggle to decide. They recognize opportunity instinctively. They sense danger without panic. They move decisively, guided by an internal authority that cannot be shaken by opinion or circumstance. This faculty cannot be forced. It must be earned. The individual who has mastered himself no longer seeks constant reassurance. He trusts the processes he has established. He understands that success is not an event to be chased, but a condition that follows correct thinking, correct decision, and correct habit. Thus, the sixth sense marks completion, not perfection, but alignment. When mind, purpose, and action operate in harmony, effort becomes efficient, confidence becomes natural, and progress becomes steady. The individual no longer drifts. He directs. He no longer reacts. He responds. This is the end of instruction and the beginning of command. All principles presented are means to this end, not wealth alone, but mastery of direction. For when a man governs his own mind, circumstances become secondary, obstacles become temporary, and achievement becomes inevitable. This is the final law, and it is sufficient.